What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of GMs Live, GMs for Hire here. Your favorite two people or four people who talk sports. Who knows?
Hey.
Today it's only two. Matthew Perry and myself, Will Polston. We are typically staples on the channel. I think it's fair to say. Probably the two guys who are on the most videos, so you probably recognize us more than anybody. But we are here today to talk about some sports. The show must go on per usual. And to say that we have a lot of stuff to cover is an understatement. It all started off with the NBA free agency here recently. And man, there was a lot of stuff going on. I think we can speak officially, Matt, with the Bulls. I think we should start with the Bulls because they seem like one of the busiest teams in this offseason so far. With DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, a lot of names coming to Chicago. So just take me through a little bit on just your opinions. I know you and I have talked a lot of basketball over the last couple of days. So first, let's get your opinion on the Bulls.
Yeah, the Chicago Bulls have put in a lot of work and more than maybe any other team in NBA free agency so far. Picking up Lonzo Ball, trading for DeMar DeRozan. Alex Caruso is going to be a big bench piece for them. They're really bringing things together. And this was a team that last year, obviously, not the best result. They weren't a playoff team or anything, but they definitely have a core now built. And you look at this starting five, which would be Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan at the 3, Lauri Markkanen at the 4, and then Nikola Vucevic. I'm sorry.
Him too.
5. Yeah, it's a great looking starting 5. They don't have as much depth as a team we're going to talk about in a second, the Miami Heat. But Alex Caruso coming off the bench, guys like Kobe White once he's healthy, Denzel Valentine. It's enough. And I do think that this puts the Chicago Bulls more into the playoff conversation, at least more than they were, 2 weeks ago. So these are really impressive moves. I like them. Lonzo Ball, 4 years, $85 million. He's a great passer, plays good defense. I think he can really provide. The Caruso deal, playing with LeBron your whole career, might pad your, stats and how you look a little bit. But, he gets his bag. Happy for him. I'm sure he's enjoying that. And then the DeRozan deal itself, DeRozan in a sign and trade to the Chicago Bulls. The return to the San Antonio Spurs, Al-Farouq Aminu and Thaddeus Young, two very good depth pieces and pieces that have shown they know the game of basketball in the past, as well as some picks to go along with it. So that's not a bad trade. And, one of the winners of NBA free agency so far has to be the Chicago Bulls.
Shout out to my man, Chris Brown. I know he's currently at an airport right now, but my man, Chris, has been telling me he always wants me to pick a basketball team. He's been telling me I need to find fandom. I need to pick a team. Chicago is still the closest team to anything that I have to my hometown. And the free agency really makes me want to watch Chicago basketball. I'll be completely honest. It just looks like an entertaining group. I love the idea whenever Kobe White comes back to have him as a 6-man, to be able to work around, and especially to get somebody like Lonzo Ball, who's going to play great defense. He's going to be a great playmaker. He's working on his 3-point and his jump shot. I think Lonzo Ball is going to be a great addition. Already have Zach LaVine. He's been doing great. And then DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar, he's going back to his natural position as small forward where he was playing at a college, and now going to be able to get that role in Chicago. And shout out to Coast Network. Don't know who's running it tonight, but the Bulls have made some great moves, and that's to say the least. I think the Bulls have definitely made a statement that they are more of a win now team, especially with these kind of moves. Now, obviously, I love playing 2K, even if I'm a basketball fan or not. And I've been watching a lot of 2K YouTubers with this new team trying to do rebuilds, and they're still just awful. I mean, DeMar DeRozan gets there and he goes down like 4 overalls almost immediately. Shout out Ace. Hi, Ace. But yeah, no, but I still don't. I obviously this is real life. This isn't a video game. I think DeMar DeRozan brings some amazing mid range play. Obviously, one of the best mid range shooters in the NBA right now. And there was a lot of speculation on where he could go, and I think a lot of people were leaning Los Angeles to go play with the Lakers. They're in desperate need of a shooting guard still. I think they still haven't really addressed that. I know they have THT, but do you want a 20-year-old starting with a bunch of 30 plus, people? Might be a nice learning experience, but as of right now, it's going to be interesting. And Ace, yeah, we'll definitely get to that in a minute, talking about how the Heat have done such a good job so far in free agency as well. The NBA is honestly, this is one of the more interesting free agencies I've seen in a while. And I'm honestly quite entertained by the Bulls moves, the Heat's moves. I think this is going to be but the thing is that the Heat was already a good team. The Heat was already a team, a playoff team. The Bulls were on the outside looking in. And now a lot of these moves are kind of pushing them back up. Do you think, in your opinion, Matt, in the East, obviously the East is a little bit more of a more crowded conference, but do you think these additions are enough for the Bulls to maybe slide in and get an 8 seed?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, of course. Obviously, we'll see what happens when they hit the court. But yeah, you look at these guys, several, past or future all-stars now load this team. I like the starting five a lot. Like I said, they lack a little bit of depth, especially in the bigger positions behind Vucevic, behind Markkanen. But you'd like to see them further develop. Lonzo's still young. Levine, I think, is hitting his prime. DeMar DeRozan's probably at his prime, if not maybe heading a little past it, but he could still definitely provide value. Same goes for Vucevic. I think his prime was probably with the Orlando Magic, but he's definitely still top 10 center in the league. I want to say closer to 10. I think with how easy the East has been over the past few years, I definitely think they can slide in and be a playoff team as of right now.
Yeah, I think they're going to be towards that back end, or maybe if they're still doing the extended playoffs. I know last year they had, the 10 seeds or trying to fight in for those play-in spots.
Yeah.
If we're doing a similar playoff format, I think it's almost guaranteed the Bulls are in. As an 8 seed, I think they could slide in. I think they could see, maybe an 8 or a 7 seed somewhere down towards the bottom. And probably, unfortunately, have to face a powerhouse such as Brooklyn, or have to face, Milwaukee, or whatever the case. And that'll be fun. Or maybe the other team that we're about to talk about, the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat made a couple of statements this offseason as well. And like Ace said, that the Heat have absolutely killed free agency, and they're going to be scary. And I think that's, again, I think whenever similar to the Bulls, I think that's a little bit of an understatement. I think they've made a lot of great moves. They signed Kyle Lowry, Toronto's finest. Didn't think he'd ever leave, but hey, there he goes, off to Miami. Jimmy Butler getting the Supermax, getting that extension, going to be able to stay out there in Miami. Obviously, they already have Bam Adebayo. They already have Tyler Herro. Duncan Robinson got an extension. And then also signing PJ Tucker. That starting five is looking really good from top to bottom. If you're looking at, I'm assuming you're going to be looking at Kyle Lowry, and then not Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, and then Bam Adebayo. There's a lot of scoring options, a lot of defense to be played, especially from PJ Tucker and Bam. I think this is going to be a very interesting team, and I think the Miami Heat are coming out and making a statement for themselves in the East.
Yeah, both the Bulls and Heat have made statements, and I do think they're probably the two winners of free agency so far. The East is an easier conference than the West, but you definitely still have to make sure you're in there. A first-round sweep by the, of course, now NBA champion Bucks in the first round of last year for the Miami Heat. Not the result you want. So what do? You bring in guys that are winners. Kyle Lowry won a chip just a couple years ago. PJ Tucker just won it with the Bucks. You bring him in. He's now your starting power forward. ESPN's depth chart has Duncan Robinson starting over Tyler Herro, but they're pretty expendable. You can kind of use them how you want. They did throw the bag at Duncan Robinson, which I thought was interesting. 5 years, $90 million. That's a lot for Duncan Robinson, in my opinion, but hopefully he grows and lives up to that. You throw the Supermax extension at Butler, which once again I think is a lot for someone like Jimmy Butler. 4 years, $187 million. I want to say that's $47 million a year, something around there.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of crazy for Jimmy Butler's a great player, but that's a lot of money. Tucker takes an easy 2-year, $15 million. I think that's fair. Kyle Lowry, I want to say, took. I actually don't have his written down for some reason, but I know his was nothing out of the ordinary, and he's still great at that point guard position. The Heat have set themselves up really well. They have a bit more depth than the Bulls. Harrell backing up. Goran Dragic, they brought back. They picked up his option instead of Andre Iguodala, who's now a free agent. They also signed Markieff Morris to back up PJ Tucker at the 4. I really, really like that signing. I think that's great big man depth. And then Bam Adebayo, he gets better every season. He's currently playing with Team USA. They're about to take the gold within probably the next 24 hours at this point. Yeah, hopefully. And then you still have Victor Oladipo, who won't be ready probably until December.
Oh, my goodness. They have VO.
Yeah, they brought him back on a 1-year deal, low risk. Wow. He'll be hurt for probably half the season, but he'll be good well before the playoff run. So him in the playoffs with this team, that's big stuff. That's really big.
I completely blanked on VO. I wasn't even thinking about VO. That adds even more to that team because now you're going to have Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro off the bench. Both can get a 3 for you when you need it. Both are decent 3 and D guys. That team's getting deep. Ace saying that they are going to be a great defensive team for sure. I think that is to be said. I think that's easy. Joanne, hello to GMs. Yeah, tonight GMs 2 higher. But either way. And then also right now we have about 10 people watching between the Facebook and the YouTube. So I did want to point out that I have put the link to our YouTube channel. Don't know why I haven't always done this, but I did put the link to our YouTube channel and it is pinned. So if you love watching what we do, come on and come join the family on the YouTube side of things. Come give us a subscribe and come watch all of our content. We talk sports, we do predictions, we do Hall of Fame videos, whether or not somebody should be in the Hall of Fame. Matt does a lot of historical stuff. I mean, there's a lot of great content on there. I mean, it's a one-stop shop for everything you could ever want on the sports side of things. So it is pinned. Go down there, go click the link, come subscribe, and then come right back and come watch it, or just watch on the YouTube channel. Who cares? While you're already over there, you might as well tune in. But yeah, no, thank you for everybody who is leaving comments and everything such as that. And then not to mention, to continue on with the basketball, this may be the first time I've seen a 5-team trade. This was absolutely all over the place. And there's a lot to it because it seems like the information's coming out at different times. Because last time we were live, we already knew Russell Wilson, or I keep doing that. Russell Westbrook was going to the Los Angeles Lakers. We were already aware of that fact. We knew that KCP, who else? Kyle Kuzma, and Montrezl Harrell were all on the outs going to Washington. Now we're learning that there's 3 other teams involved in that, including the Brooklyn Nets. No, not the Brooklyn Nets because they're Dinwiddie's a free agent. But it's the Spurs, the Pacers, and maybe it is the Nets. Maybe I'm tripping. Anyway, because I think they're a sign and trade with Dinwiddie to move him to the Wizards, if I'm not mistaken. And I think those are the 5 teams. I think it's Wizards, Lakers, Nets, Spurs, Pacers. Regardless, this trade's all over the place. All I know is that the Wizards just got about 4 or 5 different new players. Russell Westbrook's on his way to Los Angeles, and then there's some other stuff here and there, just some small minor stuff all over the place. First off, I just want to get the opinion on a 5-team trade because there's a lot of ins and outs, and we've seen teams back out with a 2-team trade, and I'm not saying that this is a sketchy situation or anything such as that, but a 5-team trade, I don't know if I've ever heard of it. I've heard of 3-team, and that's about the max I've ever heard. So, I mean, are they going to start implementing 5-6-team trade options in 2K now? I mean, is this something we're going to see more often? But, take me through, if you have the trade, did you pull the trade up?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So talk me through it a little bit and then take me through who you think your winner is of that trade.
Okay. So it is a little messy because 5 teams is a lot, but it proves that if you get the financials right, anything is possible when you're trading. Dinwiddie is a sign and trade to the Wizards. The contract's 3 years, $62 million, which I think is fair. The Wizards also acquire Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, and Holiday. It did not give me a first name, but
I think it's Aaron Holiday.
yes, I believe you're right. And the draft rights to Isaiah Todd, who was the number 31 pick. The Lakers acquire Russell Westbrook, and then either the Wizards or Grizzlies' second-round pick for 2024, whichever is less favorable, of course, and the Wizards' 2028 second-round pick, moving very, very far into the future. The Nets acquire either the Wizards or the Grizzlies' second-round pick for 2024, whichever is more favorable, and the right to swap the Warriors' 2025 second-round pick for the Wizards' 2025 second-round pick. So that would be the Nets getting the opportunity to trade, I guess, picking up the Wizards second in 2025 instead of the Warriors. The Spurs acquire Hutchison, who I'm not familiar with, unfortunately, and either the Bulls, Lakers, or Pistons 2022 second-round pick, whichever is
going
favorable. It's like that It's Always Sunny meme with Charlie on the board with all the pictures. And
it's like Dennis Rodman and going through the Last Dance.
Yeah, and you go over here. And
I'm over here.
And finishing this up, the Pacers acquire the draft rights to Isaiah Jackson, who is the number 22 pick. So it's all over the place. Who is the winner of this trade? I have to say the Wizards. You get Dinwiddie, you get Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Harrell, and the draft rights to the number 31 pick. We obviously don't know what Todd will be yet, but we know Harrell is a great defender. Caldwell-Pope, great perimeter shooter. Kuzma is Kyle Kuzma, but there's value in there somewhere. And then Spencer Dinwiddie coming off the torn ACL. I don't know if you're taking a risk, but I think he'll be fine. And he's still a great player. Obviously, short-term winner, I guess, would be the Lakers because you get Russell Westbrook. But that with Melo and a couple other older guys and a couple known selfish guys, I don't know. It'll be interesting seeing Melo and LeBron play together. Obviously, they've played at Team USA. They're good friends. And then Russell Westbrook is Russell Westbrook. He'll have his triple-doubles if LeBron lets him. LeBron runs that show. We all know that very well. So we'll see how much they're allowed to do.
I will ask you that, but here in a minute. But first, I do want to talk about this trade a little bit. Now the Wizards, I mean, if everything falls together, this is not a horrible team on paper. I mean, You're looking at Bradley Beal, KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, Davis Bertans. I mean, there's a lot of good pieces out there now playing for the Wizards. And now, am I saying better days are to come? Probably not. It is still the East, and the East is still very packed. But the team is at least looking a lot more comparable, or I should say, maybe not comparable, but like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it looks a lot more like serviceable. Serviceable is a much better word. They definitely
a lot more playable.
Yeah, they definitely look like they can stand more of a chance when they're playing. Yeah. And maybe it's just because of the depth. But I mean, Montrezl Harrell is one of those guys for a center or power forward, wherever you want to play him. Even though he's 6'7", that guy's a dog. That guy will give everybody a pain. Shout out Chewy, competitive. Yeah, that's a good word too. Something like that. But yeah, no, it's a little bit all over the place. And to say that, and then also getting Dinwiddie also a part of it. So now you're looking at about a 5-man rotation that's honestly pretty serviceable, and could compete on a good day when everybody's on and everything's going well. So I like it. Obviously, in the short term of things, it's looking like that the Lakers are probably going to walk away as a winner just because of the addition of Russell Westbrook. There it is. Had to slow it down. But now I do want to ask you this. Obviously, Russell Westbrook is typically a point guard. His natural position is point guard, and he's the triple-double machine. He's the guy who's going to get all the assists, all the boards, everything such as that. He's a guy who typically has the ball in his hands. And we know that LeBron James is the guy who runs the ball in his hands. He is the Los Angeles Lakers. He does what he wants to do. And with the vision he has and everything such as that, he deserves it. I mean, he's earned that spot. Shout out to Nick Allen. I don't know who Nick Allen is. Do you know Nick Allen?
I'm not familiar with Nick Allen.
Shout out Nick Allen. Nick Allen, thanks for joining us, my man. He said, I'm a Lakers fan. I will tell you that Trez will play hard. He is a defensive liability, though. But I did want Trez to get minutes over Drummond. Seeing Drummond get those minutes did annoy me. And he said, I'm also not upset at all that Trez is gone. Well, hey, I mean, it's one of those things to where I think Trez is definitely not the defensive guy. And at his position, 6'7", is definitely undersized for his position. But it's more the dog mentality that he'll give you. Similar to what Nick said, he says that he's going to play hard. And I think he just gets in a lot of people's heads and it makes it a little bit easier. But, it's going to be it's going to be something that they need to figure out there in Washington. I don't hate the addition of Trez. Even if he's coming off the bench, if he wants to play six-man behind Davis Bertans, whatever the case may be, I do think that it's going to be a decent addition. He says, I agree. He does have that dog mentality. See, I kind of know what I'm talking about sometimes, not often. But now and then. But hey, 21 minutes through basketball content. I haven't thrown up yet, so I'm doing all right. But small victories. Yeah, so the Lakers are this addition of Russell Westbrook kind of concerns me a little bit in the fact I have two concerns. One concern that I have is the fact that Russell Westbrook always plays with the ball in his hands, and so does LeBron James. How is Russell Westbrook going to play off ball? Because he's typically the guy who's going to make the playmaker. And for a point guard, he doesn't have the shot. He's more of a finisher. He's down by the rim, whether it be a dunk or a layup or whatever the case. I think it's a little bit different from Russell Westbrook is definitely different from the typical point guard. And then the other thing is that now with Westbrook, James, and AD, also Marc Gasol in your starting five, and then I'm assuming THT's as of right now. I think they have slotted in THT as the starting shooting guard.
Right now it's showing Wayne Ellington.
Wayne Ellington. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, they did make all the retirement home additions. Did forget about that. But who takes a game-winning shot in that lineup? I talked to a friend of mine, and he said it's probably still Braun, but I mean, it's just one of those. Do you want? Braun's got the clutch gene. Yes, I understand, but it's just a little bit interesting. And Nick seems to be agreeing with me here on the fit. He said I'm concerned about the fit too, but I am also happy at least. But I am happy to see them surround the big three with shooters. There you go. Holy crap.
English major, baby.
Hey, dude. I mass communicate sometimes. And don't worry, Justin, we're going to be getting to that here in a minute. So, Matt, obviously the fit, Russell Westbrook in there with LeBron James. Do you think there could be a little bit of not necessarily butting heads, but maybe like a growing period for the Los Angeles Lakers to start to gel a little bit?
100%. There's going to be some issues early. I mean, I'm looking at the depth chart here, and LeBron is currently the starting small forward and the backup, the second string point guard. So, it's still LeBron's team. He's still taking that shot. Le GM, le point guard. It's still LeBron's show, and he just brought in some of his buddies to try to win a chip. There's definitely going to be some problems. This is now a very inside-heavy team offensively. You don't have as many perimeter shooters as you did. You have Wayne Ellington, who's the projected starting shooting guard. His career three-point percentage is like 38%, but Westbrook not known for the three. James has his moments from three. Anthony Davis, one of the better big men that could shoot the three, but still not fantastic. And then Marc Gasol, you're not giving him that shot to begin with. They have the depth now, signing Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Ariza, guys like that. You still have Horton Tucker to build up with, but a lot of new guys. It's definitely going to take some getting used to. We saw Russell Westbrook and James Harden kind of have some issues in Houston, I want to say. Even though they were together in the past on Oklahoma City, I don't think they got along in Houston as well, just because they are both in the position to be that guy. And neither of them, well, now Westbrook nor Carmelo nor Anthony Davis are going to be that guy. And all of three of them at one point in their careers were that guy with teams. Davis with the Pelicans, Melo in Denver and New York, Westbrook, of course, with a few of his past teams. But yeah, it's still LeBron's show, and I have a feeling that it's going to take a while to get things together. Yeah.
Russell Westbrook's been with a couple of ball dominant guys, obviously been with KD, but KD can play off the ball. This is a completely different kind of situation. KD can be that guy to play, and the game plays through him. Same with James Harden. He's done 2 different stints with James Harden now, and there's just been a lot of work and not a lot to show for Russell Westbrook other than an MVP. Obviously, his numbers are there, but it is ultimately what you're doing is you're trying to get a championship, and Russell Westbrook is still out there looking for his. Shout out Nick. My bad about the bad grammar. Forgot to delete words. AD needs to start at center. I know he doesn't like playing center, but he needs to play center and Braun at the power forward. It'd be an interesting one.
You're smart man, Nick. I like the way you think. I think that could definitely.
Nick, we need guys like you on our subscribers. If you want to hit that pinned comment, go subscribe and come right back. We would love to have you.
That'd be sweet of you, Nick. That'd be real
Nick,
sweet.
You're already here, Nick. You're already committed.
We're interacting. We're like best friends.
Yeah, we're already here, and maybe a lot of our subscribers come on the channel, so maybe
I'll invite you to my wedding. Come on.
He also said 2 ball dominant guys who don't move without the ball in LeBron and Westbrook. My initial reaction was that it was a big mistake, but because of who the team surrounded with them, I'm willing to give it a chance. At least the Lakers fan doesn't seem too hurt about it. And Justin, I do see your comments down here, and I know you said thoughts on LeBron James deleting his tweets about his new teammates. I didn't see those tweets, so I can't necessarily speak on them. So we'll see a little bit. Maybe we'll look more into it next time. Shout out Nick, got to keep doing it. Westbrook and Harden having their problems also concern me. Westbrook didn't like how Harden always got his way, right? Well,
yeah, exactly.
LeBron's a guy that demands control. Exactly. La GM, la coach, everything such as that. Oh my goodness. He said, will do, and I have a channel of my own, and you guys will have to check it out, man. We'll do subscribe, brother. We'll get it on there. Tell you what, you subscribe right now, I'll hit the goal horn. Yeah, don't make me do it. If you go hit that pinned comment down there by Will Poston, go subscribe. I'll hit the goal horn. Let me know when you do it.
Let us get the name, Nick. Let us tell the people about your channel a little bit.
Yeah, come on, Nick. Drop that channel in there. We got about 10 live viewers between YouTube and Facebook. I'd love to shout you out a little bit. But yeah, man. So obviously NBA's got a lot going on. It's all over the place. And this is the exciting time. Obviously, the off season, everything's changing. It's always a good time. But I do want to go address something, and you are our big soccer connoisseur, Matt. Justin's down here, and he wants to talk about Messi leaving Barcelona. So I am going to give you the floor on that and let you speak a little bit because you know way more about soccer than I do.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm not a Barcelona fan by any means. I'm a Chelsea fan over in England. I love my Blues, but as a soccer fan, as a football fan, seeing Messi leave Barcelona just doesn't feel right. I mean, boyhood club, he grew with the team, everything he's won besides, like the 1 or 2 with Argentina has been with Barcelona. He is the face of the club. They had originally agreed to a kind of a hometown discount deal for Messi. I don't remember the details of it, but this was maybe a month or 2 ago. And I guess they could never come to a true agreement because now today Barcelona announces that they will not be re-signing Messi. So that, is one, very sad, but 2, presents an opportunity for some other teams. I would say favorites, PSG in Liga and Manchester City in the Premier League. Two teams with some of the most transfer money in the world right now, especially PSG. Inter Miami is a dark horse for this, in my opinion. I know he said he wanted to play in the U.S. at some point. Yep. Just like Justin just said, MLS. I could see it happening. I think it's too early in his career for the MLS right now. Maybe in a couple of years because I don't think.
Wait. Pause. Little subscriber goal horn gets everybody in a good mood.
I love it. Thank you, Nick. And anybody else who feels like doing it. If you want the horn, you want the pretty little
song. Who
song.
doesn't want the goal horn?
Hey, I'm a big fan. But what was I saying? I think it's too early for the MLS. I think it'd take a couple of years. Justin, you're exactly right. Zlatan went MLS and then Italy, and that's a route that I think only Zlatan would take. That's just he's a unique guy. Messi, I don't think he signs any contract more than 4 years. Wherever he goes, they're going to throw the bag at him. Of course, it's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars. Might break some record, who knows? But I would say PSG is probably the most likely suitor for him. I did a video months ago when he was set to leave, and now he's actually going to leave. And basically saying what I'm saying now, PSG being the favorite. That's deep in our YouTube anthology if you want to go check that out. But yeah, PSG the favorite. Then Manchester City as a dark horse. I'll go Inter Miami in the MLS. And that's about it. It sucks to see Messi leave just because he is Barcelona. So I feel for those fans. I feel for my boy Safe. I know he's a big Barca fan. But, they'll rebuild. They got Aguero. They got a nice future ahead of them. A couple of younger guys. So they'll be all right.
All right, shout out Nick. Got to go to him first, obviously. He said, if you like baseball and football, I make videos for those sports too. Haven't done a football video in a while, but I'll be back on it soon. It's been hard with the MLB trade deadline and NBA free agency, though. Dude, hear you, brother. Pushing out content. Trust me, we hear you. You still haven't dropped that channel name. Make sure you do that. We'd love to have it. Shout out Phil McClung, Chewy. I never get to light the Tesla coils. Neither do I. It's kind of depressing. One day. But do you think Ronaldo could leave this year too?
I don't know the details of his contract. I'd have to look further into that. They've had decent success at Juventus. I don't think it's been a perfect time there, but Ronaldo's still producing. I don't know. I don't see a reason for him to leave, but if he wants to, he can. He's one guy where I can't imagine him in the MLS. It'd just be weird to me. He just doesn't seem like that kind of guy. So no, I'll say no. For now, I don't think Ronaldo leaves Juventus.
Anybody watching, Showtime Nick, go give him a follow. Go check him out. Shout out to him. He signed the contract. He joined the family. He's part of it here at GMs, and we want to give our thanks to him and also help boost him up a little bit too. If you guys like watching our content, go check out Nick as well. Nick, we'll have to have you on GM's Jeopardy one day. We'll have to come out there, come test your little sports knowledge a little bit. Hey, thank you, brother. Thank you for being here and commenting and everything such as that. Kisses from Matt and everything such as that. But that'll do for soccer. Let's talk a little bit more, something that I can at least speak on a little bit. Let's talk about the WWE. Obviously, the WWE had their big overhaul. They cut a bunch of people. AEW's picking up Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. We talked about it last time. Now, out of nowhere, it seemed like Bray Wyatt gets released. Why? Why is the first question I have. One of the guys who is probably the most over in the company based off of his gimmick. The Fiend was going so well, regardless of how they booked it, regardless of anything else. It just seemed to be something that captivated fans. And I was one of them. I was one of them. I'm a casual WWE fan. I was a hardcore when I was a kid. And I stepped away from it a little bit as I got older, but the Fiend reeled me right back in. I talk about relics. If you want to go back, WWE, we have a video, Perry's Pit, top 5 wrestlers of both Matt and I. The Fiend made my list. I loved the Fiend. I thought the character arc was amazing. It was beautiful. It was executed so well. And I just feel like they wrote it wrong. I feel like they were going about the storyline incorrectly. Yeah. The addition of Alexa Bliss to it, there was a whole bunch of crap, and they kind of played it off weird. Then he shows up at WrestleMania. Shout out Matt. Matt was live at WrestleMania, saw his return, and that's it. We had our goodbye, and it was the weirdest match ending probably of all the WrestleMania matches. Came out of nowhere for some reason. Alexa Bliss's own partner throws it off. Shout out to Chewy. Indeed, I know he's a big WWE fan. He's saying indeed. I'm assuming to the fact that they just wrote it all wrong. But it could have gone so well. And I feel like Bray Wyatt is such a guy who's been so over with the fans and such a hardworking guy. And I feel like there aren't many of people who would do such a character deep dive into the Fiend like he did. And the fact that we got that wet fart of a fucking goodbye, like it was just so sad to see how he had to leave and everything such as that. But now he's gone. He's a free agent. So Matt, take me a little bit through your thoughts on Bray Wyatt.
I mean, it sucks. It's a big blow to the fans. Maybe not the company themselves because they just have so much talent, such a surplus. But he was one of the top merch sellers for 2020 for sure. Him, Roman Reigns, Sasha Banks, guys like that. Yeah, there's not. It's hard to speak on really, just because of to the fans. I know this means a lot more than the company. This is strictly business, I'm sure. We hadn't seen Bray Wyatt since either WrestleMania or the Raw after. Something might have happened, but I believe it was the
I
Raw
think it
after.
was just, was he on Raw
I
after?
believe it was the Raw after because he said something new was coming, and then we really never saw him
And then
again.
nothing came.
It was reported he was taking time off due to mental health stuff.
Right.
Obviously, I don't think he got any time off when Brody Lee passed away, which of course was Luke Harper with him in the Wyatt family. So I'm sure that took a toll on him, as it did many people that wrestled with Brody and / Luke, whatever. You really can just hope that he's doing well. He seems in good spirits. His bio on Instagram now says Cult of Wyndham coming soon. Obviously, he's running Wyndham Rotunda. This could really mean something special coming. The Wyatt family, I agree, Justin, is one of my favorite factions, at least of this century. Very good character stuff from them. And it's crazy to think that in the last couple of months, we've lost Aleister Black and Bray Wyatt, two of the best characters in wrestling as a whole. And it's just really bad booking that led to these releases. Aleister Black, we now see him as Malachi Black in AEW. I believe last night he had a big victory over Cody Rhodes, another former WWE guy. And so far, they're using Malachi Black very well. So there's no telling if Bray Wyatt will actually end up in AEW. A couple theories. He takes over the Dark Order and makes them heel again. Obviously, his brother, Brody Lee, was the leader before his passing. So that's something that I've seen moving around. Obviously, there might be a no-compete in Wyatt's contract where you have to wait 90 days before you sign with someone else or compete in their company, what have you. So we don't know yet. It's a little early to really talk about Bray Wyatt's future, but the most we could do is just hope he's doing well mentally and hope he finds a good home, whether they bring him back, which could always happen. They did it with Samoa Joe, or he goes elsewhere. You've got to take advantage of how creative he is.
I just hate, because I know it'd be different if, obviously he can go out and he can go be the Wyatt. He could go be Bray Wyatt. Obviously not the name, but he could do a very similar character arc. He could go back to just being Wyndham Rotunda and go do, he could do a Rotunda family as opposed to a Wyatt family, and it could be the same exact kind of character arc. But I know we're not getting the Fiend back, and that kind of annoys me. And the Fiend was just. I remember when I first saw it, I was just really thrown off. And then I realized it was Bray Wyatt. The story behind it was actually written pretty well. I thought the character development and why he was who he is and everything such as that, even though the Wyatt Family Funhouse had like little dark Easter eggs in there, I thought it was a really good execution by the creative team at WWE. And I just feel like I said, I just feel like we just got like a wet fart of a goodbye, and it was just disappearing. Shout out to the best Bray Wyatt, Husky Harris. Good old Huskus.
He was interesting.
Yeah, NXT. We need when's Nexus coming back? What are they up to? They're not doing anything.
Nexus.
But no, that's a little bit all over the place, and I hope to see him back at least on decent TV. I don't want to see him in Impact. I don't want to see him, out here at the little wrestling independent scene that I just went and covered the other day. It's not his scene, not his cup of tea. Bray Wyatt deserves to be on the big stage, and I think Bray Wyatt should be getting picked up pretty soon and be used hopefully correctly and appreciated for how well and how much time and effort he puts into his character arcs and everything such as that. Because if I'm not mistaken, I feel like I think I saw somewhere that the Fiend was actually Bray Wyatt's idea, and it was his thing to where he sat and kind of just tried to do everything he could to encompass that character and really sit and become the Fiend in his own head. And maybe that's why he's taking time off for mental issues. But regardless, I thought he did an amazing time. One of the more entertaining characters in WWE in a while. It blew the boogeyman out of the water.
Yeah.
It was so much better. It was so much better than a guy who eats worms. I mean, it was so cool. And it brought my fandom back into WWE. So Bray Wyatt, I hope Wyndham Rotundo, whatever you want me to call you, I hope you're doing all right. I hope everything is going well. But on the other side of WWE, looking at NXT, Adam Cole. I know that's one of your favorite wrestlers, Adam Cole, currently with his contract coming up, and apparently there hasn't been talks of extensions yet, or he at least hasn't signed an extension yet. And you know, we're at less than a year. It's coming up in a couple months, to my understanding, and that's got to be a little bit concerning to you as an Adam Cole fan. So just take me through a little bit your thought process on that.
Yeah, it should be concerning to any NXT fan, really, because it shows so much more than the WWE not caring about who they hold on to, because these past few months have really shown that this is really just a business to WWE, and whether you're a fan favorite or you're a jobber, you're not protected by any means. There are very few names right now protected by WWE, and somehow Adam Cole is not one of them, which really just sucks because he's been very, very valuable to NXT, but it just really appears that he's not the kind of guy Vince likes. Vince is a Hulk Hogan kind of guy, you know, big, strong, very charismatic, which Adam Cole has the charisma, and he's a great worker. He's very good on the microphone. He has everything except size. And Vince McMahon, I think, unfortunately, is stuck in a 1980s world where
he loves big sweaty men,
Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Kane, guys like that in the 90s. And then you look at champions now, Bobby Lashley, big sweaty man. Drew
Roman Reigns, big sweaty guy.
Before him. Roman Reigns, of course. Brock Lesnar when he's around. You got
big
Goldberg. You got Goldberg challenging. Cena, I think, is a little more than big sweaty man, but I mean, he's got the size on Adam Cole. It sucks because, you know, Adam Cole's never gotten a fair shot at the main roster or on SmackDown. He deserves it, of course. You on a fan level, on a base level, if you watch NXT weekly or if you keep up enough, you know that it'd be the right choice to have Adam Cole as part of your future in WWE. He's everything you'd want. Phil, I agree. Kane was awesome. I miss Kane.
Mayor Glenn Jacobs to you.
Yes, of course. But yeah, it's a big mistake if you let Adam Cole walk just for everything he's done for NXT, one of the faces of NXT. At least within the last couple of years, for sure. And him, unlike Bray Wyatt, is, you know, a one-way ticket to AEW. I mean, you look at who's there. His girlfriend, Britt Baker, she's the women's champ over there, and then the Elite are over there, who he's very good friends with them still. But you know, he was in Ring of Honor with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, guys like that, who are champions in AEW. So it's really written in the stars that Adam Cole is all elite if he does not get re-signed by WWE, and it would really suck. I like AEW, but nothing will ever compare to WWE. I want to see them succeed just as much as AEW, if not more. Well, more really, but I'm not like into the whole brand battles thing. I'm not one of those guys. But yeah, it's gonna suck if and when Adam Cole leaves. The smartest thing they can do, throw a bag at him. I don't know. Contract details are always iffy with wrestling, but do what you can. He's really earned a substantial contract, so that's what he should be given.
You would think. Let's definitely hope that's what we're going to get, and I hope you're correct.
Yeah. But this is a business, so who really cares?
Yeah, right. Who cares? Humans, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. John Cena's a fan favorite. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. I absolutely could not agree more with you there. But yeah, man, it's just there's always something, and I feel like it's just I feel like it's hopefully it'll figure itself out here soon, because they need to figure something out, especially with somebody like Adam Cole, who's a young guy, obviously a lot of time ahead of him as well in the business. So it's somebody who could be not only the current but also the future of of your brand, and it's somebody, especially with a stable such as the Undisputed Era that went so well, and the way that they've worked him into so many things, I feel like it's just going to be awkward without him there if he was to leave. And I think you're right. You make a lot of great points to the point where he is all elite if this doesn't happen, and it's almost guaranteed. So we'll see exactly what comes of that in the future. But let's talk. Let's move on to the NFL. Obviously, the NFL's got a little bit of going on. The biggest news right now in the NFL has to be Carson Wentz. Shout out Carson Wentz. Finally got traded, got away from the Eagles, got away from Doug Peterson. Everything seems to be going well. He's back with Frank Reich, and boom, you're out. Goodbye. Thanks for having you. And he's looking at anywhere between 5 to 12 weeks. And to be honest, if you're a football fan, if you're a Colts fan, I think that's a little bit too much time. I think that's a little bit too much leeway, and something that you can't really be comfortable with as a fan. A 5 to 12, that's such a big jump. That's the difference between coming in and being ready week 1 and being ready week 10. Whatever the case may be, or week 8, whatever the case. It's just concerning, and I think. I really hope the rumors are wrong, because I pray this doesn't happen to this man. But there's already been rumors about Nick Foles being traded to Indianapolis and playing for Carson Wentz whenever he's out. And good God, as much as I would love to not have 3 competent quarterbacks eating salary cap on my team, I would really love Carson Wentz to get a chance. I'm so sick and tired of seeing him get kind of just bodied, and I feel like he's played very well for who he is, and I feel like he hasn't been given he's been given the short end of the stick almost his whole career. Granted, has he deserved it at times? Sure, absolutely. But I feel like he's never really been given a fair shot. Last year, a lot of people were down his throat saying stuff about how he's not a good quarterback, yada, yada. But I also don't think it was necessarily his fault. We saw his whole entire wide receiver core go down, all but one of his offensive linemen go down. It's a lot, I don't think any quarterback, when they're playing with a 4 out of 5 backup O-lineman and 4 out of 4 backup wide receivers, is going to perform well. I think that's just common knowledge. So Carson Wentz having a rough one, and now his injury is definitely a concern for the Indianapolis Colts. And I just, honestly, at this point, I think it's almost a little bad for football right now.
Yeah. On the Colts side of things, you take the risk trading for Carson Wentz. It fulfilled a need, but that was the risk you take. Wentz obviously been injury prone his whole career, and here it comes to fruition. 5 to 12 weeks is not a season ender, but you're going to miss a good chunk of the season. And in the AFC South, a division that's improving, I would say, with the addition of Trevor Lawrence, and obviously the Titans are getting better and better, and the Texans exist. But yeah, no, it's not what you want if you're a Colts fan.
Texans exist.
Yeah, they're around. They're
there. They might win a game.
They play football on the weekends.
Deshaun Watson's there. They'll win a game.
Yeah, and yes, Justin, Tim Tebow being in Jacksonville is very big for not only the AFC South, but the NFL as a whole, the sports world. He is the future of tight ends in general. But yeah, really bad for the Colts. And now you got to scramble. Do you trade for another quarterback and potentially take another risk like that? I could see Nick Foles working out in Indianapolis, but is Justin Fields really ready for something like that? We don't know yet. And I don't know if the Bears would really want to take that risk. You look at the backups for the Colts, and they're not super promising. Only very limited NFL experience in Brett Hundley. And then Eason might have gotten a few snaps last year. I could be wrong. But I don't think Sam Ehlinger's seen NFL action yet. So not very inexperienced backup QBs in Indianapolis. Very concerning if I'm a Colts fan or member of that team, because that's big. I mean, you've started to build guys for him to hand the ball off to, throw the ball to, whatever. You're putting something together, and they have a pretty good defense to boot. But you need a QB. And, yeah, this is a big problem for Indianapolis.
Colts are bad for letting Jacoby Brissett go. Where is he at right now?
I
don't remember when he disappeared.
I think he's out west. But yeah, I mean, now obviously hindsight's 2020, but Brissett, Wentz, obviously Wentz is an upgrade until he's injured.
Miami
So,
Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
well, that's not out west by any means.
Yeah,
But
kick it
yeah,
out west.
I mean, I'm sure they want Brissett back now because, it could be worse.
Shout out Chewy, keeping us updated on all things sports off topic, but the Latvian beach volleyball team is smoking. All right, there you go.
Happy for you, Phil.
Happy for you. Keep it up, Chew. I hope it's going well for you. I hope you're enjoying your time. But when it comes to the Bears things, I know that right now Nick Foles is not our starter. Nick Foles is currently slated to be our backup, which would put Justin Fields at the 2 because he's currently rated 3 on the depth chart. Obviously, Andy Dalton's currently the guy. They still say he's QB1. They say he's going to start week 1, yada, yada. We've all heard this before. It is what it is. It's basically just a big pile of crap up until about week 6 or week 10 when the Bears need a turnaround, right when they come back from that bye week when Justin Fields is going to take over. Obviously, shout out Andy Dalton, QB1, my ass. He's not going to be there much longer. He signed a 1-year deal for a reason. And Nick Foles obviously still has a bunch of money named to him. He's got starter money. He definitely does not have backup or third string money. So I could see him going over to Indianapolis, but God, for the love of Carson Wentz, I hope not. Shout out to my dad commenting on the YouTube things. After week 10, Tebow might have more passing touchdowns than Wentz.
I love your dad.
Could be correct.
Man.
Andrew Luck ruined the Colts. Poor guy. Andrew Luck did not deserve the hate. Andrew Luck did not deserve this comment right here. What a good guy. He should have played rugby professionally. Very good rugby player. Yeah. He was a very good rugby player. And if I'm not mistaken, a very good soccer player as well. He's got the legs. But whenever you put him behind that really crappy O-line, as bad as the Colts O-line was prior, there's a reason he has an injury history, folks. He's not a fragile boy. That's a big guy with, if I'm not mistaken, little to no injury history in college. He's just getting pummeled back behind that O-line. Quentin Nelson was post Andrew Luck. Costanzo was about the guy, but Ryan Kelly was post Andrew Luck. A lot of their good guard play, especially up the middle, is pre Andrew Luck. So unfortunate for him that his career got cut short because obviously he was supposed to be the next big thing. And I would love to see Andrew Luck on today's Colts. Would definitely love to see that, but obviously not in the cards. Unfortunately, but I hope Carson Wentz comes back. I hope we're a lot closer to that week 5 or 5-week recovery than a 12-week recovery, because I remember. So my stepmom is a Colts fan, big Colts fan, and I remember when he got traded to Indianapolis. I was really excited for him. I really think this is a redemption team. He's got a solidified number 1 in T.Y. Hilton, who doesn't typically miss time, knock on wood. You've got a great running back core and an amazing O-line. It's probably top 5 best rounded running back group in the NFL from top to bottom, with Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines. The list goes on. There's a lot to work with back there for Indianapolis, and the offensive line is obviously who they are. I think this is an amazing team and obviously a great defense. This is a borderline playoff team. This is a guaranteed playoff team if they have the right guy. They were able to make it work with Phillip Rivers to where they slid into the wild card round behind the Tennessee Titans, who only got better this year, both defensively and the addition of Julio. So that division is speeding up, and the AFC is also speeding up. And unfortunately, this puts a big break on the Colts. If he misses extended time and they are to go trade for somebody like a Nick Foles, do you still think the extended amount of time that he misses could be enough to keep them out of the playoffs? I know they were in there by 1 game last year.
Yeah. At this point, like I said, the division's getting better. Without a quarterback that I would say is competent on an NFL level, just because we don't know what we've seen yet from those other guys, yeah, I would have to say that this is very costly to their playoff odds.
Let's hope not, for Indianapolis' sake. They're a fun team to watch. I thoroughly enjoy them. But we've gotten down to the final 5, which for us means the final 4. You like that background change? That was cool, right? Everybody hold up. Little addition. Yeah, fun times. So the final four here, one of our closing segments that we do here on GM's 4 higher. Get it? GM's 2 higher tonight. But we're still going to do our final four. So today, Matt, you came up with the final four. You said it was sports numbers, your top 4 favorite sports numbers. Now, do you mean in history, or do you mean if I was to wear a jersey, what am I wearing?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, I'll give you some leeway with it. This was an idea that I think RJ came up with, I believe,
Okay.
or Jamil, that we discussed a couple days ago. We might do a video on it, a little debate style in the future, but I figured we'd talk about it here just to wrap things up.
Perfect. Well, I'll start. Number 1 for me has to be number 11. 11 was always my jersey number, my go-to number whenever I played sports. And I'm a big double number guy. I love numbers such as 11, 33, 44, 55, yada, yada. Notice how I skipped 22. 2 is my unlucky number. But so everything such as that. But 11 was always my go-to jersey. If I could have a choice, I always went with 11. So that has to be number 1 for me. Shout out to the weird year I played and 11 was taken and I went with 77. 77 is my backup number. If I ever played any other sport, I always said I would wear 77 as an offensive lineman. If I was to play defense in hockey, I would wear 77. Shout out Victor Hedman. There's a lot. Shout out Luka Doncic. If I play NBA, I'll go wear 77. I don't know what it is. I picked 77. I'm not a single digit number guy. I love 2 numbers. And so I had to go with that as probably my number 2. Shout out Chewy saying 31. Good number. And then Xander Bogart's number 2 taken by Jeter. So he's a big number 2 guy. If I had to pick 2 more numbers, for the sake of the player, I have to go with number 4, Yadier Molina, favorite player all time. Definitely one of the most influential people on me when it comes to baseball and when it comes to my fandom and everything such as that. Big Yadier Molina guy. And then the final number I would say is probably I'm going back to double numbers is 33. Whenever I think of 3, I always think of my dad. My dad's lucky number is 3. So anytime I would create a player or something like that, I remember back in the day, whenever I was like 10, I'd create, male figures in my family and put them all on a team. I'd make my dad a closing pitcher, number 33 or whatever the case. So 33 is something that's always stuck with me. Larry Bird, shout out Chewy. Gotta love Larry Bird. The 33 I think of is Larry Walker. Off the top of my head, gotta love Larry Walker. Nick Swisher, that's a good one. My dad even said it. Larry Walker, perfect. That was convenient, right around the same time. So yeah, Larry Walker is always the 33 I think of, and whenever I think of creating, whether it be wrestlers on WWE video games or athletes on any other game, if I ever created my dad, he wore 33. So, and I'm a big double number guy. So 11, 77, 4, and 33.
Okay. There's some wholesome in there. I like that. I like the meaning you put behind them. For me, I got to start with number 2, Derek Jeter, my favorite baseball player of all time. I'd probably be a sports fan without Jeter, but he definitely helped. So for him alone, and there's some other notable number 2s in sports history, but Jeter, I think, is the most notable out of any athlete to ever wear number 2. I got to give credit to number 13, Alex Rodriguez, also one of my favorite baseball players of all time. Grew up with him. Joey Gallo now, the Yankee. I love the addition. Slow start, but I like it. Also got to give it to Pavel Datsyuk, also number 13, the Magic Man, one of the most influential players, I guess, for me, hockey-wise. The moves he made and all that was just so exciting to me and made me want to go out in the street. We don't got ice here like that and go do that. So I got to get to 13 for A-Rod and Datsyuk.
Oh, God. Oh, wrong one.
Dude,
there you go.
Dude, when I say invite you to the wedding, I mean like us, like this
like
is
Nick and Matt getting married.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't see. I'm giving you really bad angles here. My chair's in the way. Tanaka is there. I'm trying to put it all together. There you go. Yogi Berra, Gaylord Perry. My wrestling stuff is over there. And there's a bunch of sign balls. I got a whole memorabilia thing. I got people off to the side. I got Mickey Mantle over there. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But yeah, big Yankee fan, big guy.
You two should kiss.
We might, if he's okay with that. but we'll see. Yeah, but personally, number 7 for me was a number I always got. Dude, Tanaka, my favorite. Besides Jeter, Tanaka is my favorite Yankee of all time, and that's everyone. Everyone about me knows that. My PS4.
I feel like I should leave and give you guys a room.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my PS4 name is Tanaka Time.
It is.
Really, what he's done, and he's about to start the gold medal game against the U.S. So I'm absolutely torn. But for me personally, the numbers I gotta give like a little half credit to 19 just for Tanaka. But 7, I always wound up getting 7 in baseball because I guess I don't know if they do it up where you played, Will, but down here in Florida, like it was a lot of the time based on size. Like the largest jersey was like 12, 13.
Typically why I got 11 or 13.
Yeah, and I was like I was always in the middle, so I was like 5 to 8 range a lot of the time. One year I was 13 though. That was an anomaly. I don't know if I was the biggest or what. I had 1 year I had 13. I don't know how that happened, but I gotta get up to 7, Mickey Mantle, and just a number I always had. And then I don't know how it became my favorite number, but 17 resonated with me. And now it's Shohei Ohtani, who's also one of my favorite players. Definitely probably top 5 right now in the league for me, favorite player-wise. But 17, I'm not going to give credit to Alex Killorn or anything, but I think it's always just because 7's retired for the Yankees. It's taken for a lot of teams, it seems. So, I don't know. For some reason, 17 found its way into my life at one point. I saw Justin mention Johnny Damon. I'm a big Johnny Damon. I have Johnny Damon jersey in my closet. Actually, I'm a big Johnny Damon fan. I've spoken to him actually about coming for an interview. So hopefully one day I could bring you that. But yeah, I do really like Johnny Damon, number 18. I don't know what it has to do with anything, but I like Johnny Damon, dude. I like Johnny.
Hold up. This comment from Chewy up here, Doug Glatt, number 69. That makes me think. What's your favorite movie character number?
What number was Wedman?
No one knows what Wedman was, but he was 4 and 7. And the King Crusader does not eat fast food. Shout out Chewy and my dad. They love that line. That movie's so great. Oh my God. What number was Wedman? I'm gonna be sick. All right. We've hit the hour mark, which means it's time for closing thoughts. Obviously, we got to wrap it up here. We only get so much time before they kick us off. So closing thoughts, Matthew Berry.
If you check our channel on YouTube, which you should definitely go subscribe to, Justin, if you haven't, Phil, if you haven't, Nick, I love you. I'm the Jeopardy champ. I'm the Trivial Chief. I'm that guy right now. And after this, we're about to record a little something that'll drop next week. I'm putting the title on the line, of course, against the man Jamil King, who couldn't be here tonight because he's scared to see me before our match. It's going to be good. It's going to be a gory one. We might have to make this a PG-13 rated Jeopardy coming up next week because it's going to be good. It's going to be tough. I'm ready. I'm excited. We're gonna keep that title in good hands.
I mean, let's hope so. Shout out to my dad. That movie is hilarious. It really is. Hey, you are Matty Ice now. There you go. And Nick, we know you're subbed, my guy. Final thoughts, closing thoughts for me. I typically don't do it, but I do want to thank everybody because we had a very consistent viewing today. We never dropped below 7 viewers. So shout out to everybody who is here from start to finish. Shout out Nick, new subscriber. Anybody else who wants to subscribe, in the comments section, it is pinned a link straight to our YouTube channel. All you have to do is click on it, go subscribe, come join the family. We'd love to have you. My brother's a painter. Great line from that movie. I should know this. My brother's a painter. And shout out Justin. You guys are the best and keep grinding. Thank you, brother. We appreciate it. And thank you so much for being into the comments section. This is the kind of show that we love. Whenever everybody's down there giving their opinions and everything such as that, this makes everything so much better. You guys are amazing. And thank you all for being a part of it. Come subscribe. Come join the family. We're always pumping out new content, whether that be Jeopardy Hall of Fame, whether that be, predictions. Right now, RJ and Jamil doing college predictions. We're about to start NFL predictions. There's a lot of good content coming your way on the GM's front. So if you haven't yet, come join the family. It's in the pinned comment below. But until then, for Matthew Perry and for RJ Strope and Jamil King, who couldn't make it today, I've been Will Polston, and thank you so much for joining yet again. And one more time for the boy Nick. We'll catch you next time. Take it easy.